Last time out, we watched Poland get beaten by Kylian Mbappe's France in the European Championships semi-final. France would go on to win the final, but it was the last time that Kylian Mbappe would ever play for France. In fact, he didn't even play in the final. He retired after the match, and at the age of 37, who can blame him? The fact he only won the Champions League once in his illustrious career says a lot about how bad PSG were in European competitions, but he did it, I suppose, so there's that. I don't think he could have won anything else in his career. We are now the 3rd of September, and Davidovich broke his ankle on the 16th of July, literally days after the game that Poland had against France, so he's not had anything to do this season, and he's been hurt the entire time, which is an absolute shame, because he was definitely in my plans for this year, and now I'm going to be hoping that the injury does not do any long-term damage to his future. I still think he'll be amazing for us, but it's a shame that he's lost about 6 months of his career due to an injury. Still, we took on our main rivals of last year in the Ekstraklasa, and we won 2-1. And it was really good to say the least. Wrocław are still doing well, and they're in the Champions League this year. Well, they qualified for the knockout round, so they're hopefully we're doing quite well in the qualifying rounds of the Champions League. Even though we beat them 2-1, we are doing quite well, and I was so happy with the victory we secured. Jakub Szczelinski getting the opening goal for us, and Dariusz Jasinski getting the winning goal meant that it was us who got off to the perfect start to the season, and even though we're the worst team, I felt like we deserved all 3 points personally. Still, we took a Warta Poznan, and we are quite good in this game, despite the fact we missed a penalty. So, 3-0 winners here, we absolutely dominated them, and as far as I'm concerned, the fact we can win by this sort of scoreline in the first home game tells me that this team, even if we were against a newly side, can be really good on their day. And if we made it 4-0 thanks to that penalty, then who knows what might have happened here. Our next opponent was Pogoń Szczecin, and they were newly promoted, but they'd won their first 2 games of the season, so when Kowalski got his goal in the very first minute of the game, we never looked back, and I was hoping we could do this kind of performance, and that we could shut out our opponents, and the fact we got another clean sheet is really, really promising to say the least. Elkaz Woods was the next opponent we had, and we beat them by 3-0. Another 3-0 scoreline, though this time, they didn't actually match what we were expected to do, so if anything, we overperformed the XG, and it was promising to say the least. They had an XG of 1, but they had no shots on target, which let them down, but we took full advantage of the fact that they were doing badly with their shots, and I'm happy with this performance. It meant that we were doing quite well for ourselves here. Baník Ostrava was our next opponent, and this is the team that we had to get past in the Champions League to get to the league phase of the competition, and we didn't actually score for the first time in this season, which was a little concerning, but I felt that we could definitely do better, and hopefully next time won't be so problematic. Still, our next opponent was Lech Poznan in the Ekstraklasa, and we beat them by a goal to 0 thanks to Alexander Safin. And as far as I'm concerned, this was the result that told me that even though we're in European competition and we're playing multiple games, and we rotated our squad a little bit for this match, we could actually rotate and still win. Another clean sheet to our record as well. It was great. They had the most possession in this game, unusually for us to give up that kind of possession, but we had the better XG, we had the goal, they didn't. So as far as I'm concerned, we did what we needed to do, and we won. And then we took on Baník Ostrava in the Champions League qualifying round, and we beat them 1-0 thanks to Robert Kowalski in the 8th minute of the game. Even though we missed another penalty. The man I never thought would be missing penalties has missed 2 in a row after barely missing before. And the fact it's happening now is concerning to me. Adrian Wojcik is never the kind of person that really misses penalties in the past couple of years. So the fact he's missed 2 out of 2 so far is slightly concerning to me. But then we took on our next opponent, and Matthias Kowalski made sure we win the league again. And given that we do not have the best of records against our opponents, it was very, very heartwarming to know that we could be good here. But Brudbet Nisetsa was the kind of team that we need to do better against, and while we didn't have the XG we were looking for, Mateusz Kowalski was really good in front of goal, and it's his first ever goal for the club, and it meant that we now have 2 players with the same last name scoring for us, I think for the first time ever, which is saying a lot, considering we've had quite a few players with the same last name before, so how about that? However, the league is looking very, very promising right now. We have won 6 out of 6 so far. We've conceded just the 1 goal so far as well, and scored 11 times. The fact we're already 5 points clear of the teams in 2nd down to 4th, 6 points clear of the teams from 5th to 6th, and 8 points clear of the team in 8th was promising. And I like to think that this might be the year we start the next phase of the challenge, where we start to dominate the league and start to become the all-dominating force in the country. At least I hope that's the case. But we do have the Champions League now, and we're in the league phase, and we have some decent opponents. So these are the teams we'll be facing in the Champions League phase. We have Galatasaray, Genk, Real Madrid, Lazio, Willem II, Newcastle, Bayern Munich, and Bayer Leverkusen. And it's interesting that we have these teams. I like to think we can do ourselves justice here. It's a sign that potentially things are going our way. But now that we are in the Champions League, I want to go over and look at some more bits and pieces, like the teams that are in this competition and how they got here. What are the coefficient points for each team? Because I don't think I've really done that before. And we're the only Polish team in the Champions League because, well, Wrocław kind of messed up their Champions League qualifications, and it was kind of disappointing that they lost to who they did. But as we look at the coefficients, these are the teams in the Champions League this year, and Inter Milan, of all teams, are top of the coefficients despite the fact they didn't win the Champions League last year and actually finished only runners-up to the eventual champions, Liverpool. So it's interesting to see all these teams up here doing as well as they are. Monaco now proving to be quite good in the Champions League. And you've got a handful of teams in the Champions League that look quite decent. Bilbao, Sociedad, Real Madrid, Barcelona are in the Champions League this year. And I looked at this and I wonder, what can I do from here? And I looked at the coefficients and I thought, well, where am I? I realised I'm below my compatriots, and they got knocked out of the 2nd qualifying round of the Champions League. It was not a fun time. They were knocked out by Dnipro, who actually made it to the group stage in the end. So I suppose I can't be upset with them, but I want to be, because they should be getting through to the next round either way, because Dnipro ended up beating Austria Vienna and then St. Gallen. So if Swaz had gone through, I honestly believe they would have gone through to the group stage of the Champions League, and we could have had 2 teams in the group stage of the Champions League this year. But now I look to the Europa League, and they were in the league phase at least, so there's that, I suppose. But I was disappointed that they couldn't get to the league phase of the Champions League. But I suppose it shouldn't be too difficult to look at and see what the problem is here. Tottenham being the big outlier of the team, the only team with over 100,000 points in the coefficients. And yeah, it's a bit weird to see them here, but what can you do? But yes, I look at this, I see Swaz in this group, and I wonder, can they do well this year? And then I look at the teams they have in the group, and I think they should have a good chance of doing well. Ludogorets, Aris, Sarajevo, Atletico Madrid, Nefse Baku, Austria Vienna, Gen, and Roma. I think that they should be able to be Austria Vienna, Nefte Baku, Sarajevo, Aris, and Ludogorets. So that should be a team that they should do well against, right? Gen, maybe, I don't know, but it'd be good if they could do well in this competition, wouldn't it? But there was another team that was meant to do well, and that was Wisla Krakow. Now, where did they end up is the question. The problem is, they were actually eliminated in the Europa Conference League. They lost to Polska Akademika. The Legia Warsaw won. They went through. And I gotta say this here now, what Legia did is actually remarkable. Because I'm going to show you the 2 teams at the very top, and you're going to look at Villarreal, 112,000 coefficient points. So, who knocked them out? Who beat Villarreal in the Europa Conference League 3rd qualifying round? It was Legia Warsaw, who they beat in the first leg of the 3rd qualifying round. And then Legia did this. Legia Warsaw have knocked out Villarreal in the Europa Conference League. I'm a bit shocked by how big the scoreline was because I knew they knocked them out. I just didn't realize how big of a scoreline it was. But goodness me, they've absolutely done miracles here. I can't believe it. One of the favourites, if not the favourite for the tournament, based on coefficients, knocked out by Legia Warsaw. It is ridiculous, isn't it? And then Legia Warsaw managed to win in both legs against their opponent, Misima Ohio. So, I mean, it was a team from Moldova. They should be getting through that. But I would have said the same thing about Villarreal against Legia Warsaw. So, anything's possible right now. Everything is out the window. Oh, and Jagiellonia were knocked out by Antwerp by 5 goals to 1 overall. They kind of lost both legs against the Belgian team, which, honestly, looking at this, is not that big of a shock. This is quite a good Antwerp team, it looks like. But yeah, VSL Krakow, who are supposed to be really good in this competition, supposed to be really good for us in Europe, just got beaten by Puszcz Akademika twice, so that's all good to say the least. But we got a team from Poland in each league phase, in the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Europa Conference League. And the 6 teams that Legia Warsaw take on are LASK, Astana, NEC Nijmegen, Levski Sofia, Apollon, and Kolos. So I'm going to say this here now. They should get through this group. And I would even say they should probably get through as a top 8 side. The fact they've knocked out Villarreal of all teams is ridiculous. And they should be applauded. It is one of the best comebacks and best results I think I've seen from a Polish side so far. And Omar Edwards is working miracles with them. Who would have thought my former under-19s manager would end up becoming such a good manager in a Polish team? He's done quite well for himself, doesn't he? It has to be said, even if Legia Warsaw have not won the league title in almost 10 years, it will be 10 years if they don't win the league title this year, since Legia Warsaw have won the league title. And it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. So now, we look at the coefficients, and so far we've got 3.4 points. We're losing in the year, which is 5.2 points. And I like to think we can make up some ground. We're already above Scotland as things stand, which is kind of remarkable when you think about it. But, this is a big but, we might still lose places to Switzerland. So Switzerland are going to overtake us right now because they're losing a 3.5 year. I'm kind of hoping that we can build a really good year so we can avoid losing places to other teams in our country or just generally teams around us. The Czech Republic's there for the taking as far as I'm concerned. Ukraine, probably not so much. I'd be shocked if we can get the Netherlands as well, but they are losing a very good year, so they might be actually catchable this year, which is remarkable to say the least. I think the dream situation right now would be to get a top 10 finish, or top 10, top 9 in the Champions League right now, so we can get more teams in the league phase straight away, the Champions League, or just generally get quite far into the competition. My dream now would be to make sure that we continue to build up this nation and we continue to thrive, and we make sure everyone is going to be enjoying a wonderful season. So far this year, we've got a 73.5 million in the bank, and Novak is now worth between 42 and 47 million pounds. We actually rejected a massive offer for him in the summer, and the offer that we turned down was 48 million pounds, which is ridiculous when you realize that we were literally offered that much money for our number 1 player. Oh, and I was also offered the Croatia job after the Euros, but that's beside the point. I'm not taking any national team jobs because I want to stay at this club until I complete the challenge. So, hooray for that. Either way though, I'm going to end this here. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. I hope you guys like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a lot. But until next time, goodbye and well, good night.